Salutations, sleuths. I'm Gina. I'm Maria.
And we are
Fortuitous. Boom!
Your worth is pristine. Don't worry about it.
She's a cool chick.
She's a pretty cool dude. Yeah. And I was like, I wish you could see it, but then like I've said 100 times, like I have my shit and I just can't see what other people see. So I'm sure she's looking at me like
I know, sometimes I wish I could like see myself in like Vic's eyes, or like someone who like really, really loves me and doesn't see any flaws whatsoever.
Right. I feel like I'd be really I'd be like, I'm probably so annoying to some people. But
that's their perception.
Yeah, but then I'm like,
to other people.
Other people think I'm so great. So I'm like, maybe I'm not annoying. It just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like, whose whose shoes do you want to stand in when you're looking at yourself? The person that you can guarantee probably thinks you're annoying, or the person that loves you with their entire world? Do you want to be in Vic's arms or Vic's shoes, or do you want to be in the person that you know
hates
whoever
me,
that is like not a fan of you?
Both. I want to see both sides. I want to see, why do they hate me so much?
Why do they love me so much?
Why do they love me so much?
Okay. All right.
Rally. Can we, just for a moment, talk about women's sports popping off this year? How female athletes are fucking eating it.
I think they are the equivalent, if not more, for the Olympics this year.
They are 50%.
Is that what it is?
Yes. And it's the first time in history that they've been 50%. And by like a second, I mean like the whole episode, because we're because I want to highlight some of like the wins that women have had, female athletes this year, some of the athletes in the Olympics, and then you and I both have women who are like trailblazers and everything like that. So it's the perfect. It's just perfect. But yeah, I mean, like 2024 is like the year for women's sports.
Would you think?
Either my algorithm and my For You page is just blasted with that because of whatever I've clicked on, or it's the year.
Oh, my shit's popping off because I've been hyping it up so much.
I've also been hyping it up.
Hands down. Like, I'm just like, I fucking love Simone Biles. And I'll go and look at like 40 videos of her. And then I'm like, all right, Gina, chill.
But I feel like it can't be just us. I feel like, because you have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese from basketball. So now you have like little boys, when instead of like shooting a hoop and saying like Kobe, they're saying Caitlin. So like, you know, I feel like it's like the year, and it's not just us.
Who's the main, the superstar of Sevens USA Rugby right now that everyone is talking about?
Oh, Ilona Mar.
Ilona
Mar.
I didn't know how to pronounce her name. Yeah. I have quickly turned in love with her. At first, I was just like, because I have mixed emotions on like women's rugby. I'm like, they can either be awesome or they can suck.
That's any sport. That's any woman, any person.
It was only because there was this one girl that basically went viral when I was in college, but I had a class with her, and dude, she was a cunt.
Oh.
I'm gonna say it, yeah. But she also was a badass. Like, I mean, granted, she...
Oh, was this the nosebleed one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I saw that video.
Like,
a lot of people saw that video.
But stop being so full of yourself. She was just not a pleasant person to be in a group with in English class. That's all I'm saying.
So specific. She was a really shitty peer in English class.
No. Maybe the C word a bit too far. I didn't really get a chance to know her that much. But I had my poor sour taste put in my mouth from her. And then it kind of just evolved. Because then I got to know more female rugby players. And I'm like, do all of you guys kind of suck? No,
there's a lot of really cool ones.
Yeah. Got to know, unfortunately, some of the poor ones. So, aside from that, yeah.
I love Ilona Mar. She's badass, and then she puts lipstick on like all the time.
She doesn't give a fuck.
And then I love that she's like advocating for like women's like body image, and like you can wear lipstick to a game and still be like feminine and athletic. Like putting on makeup or earrings or whatever doesn't take away any of your athleticism or badassery.
It's like the
obviously.
moment she stepped onto that field as a U.S. Sevens Olympian, it's like, do not speak of her body, of her way of life, of her anything. She fucking let her be.
Did you see the clapback that she had where someone was like, your BMI is probably 30? And she was like, yeah, actually it is. It's 29.3%, but that's neither here or there. I'm going to the Olympics and you're not.
Clap it. Clap it back.
But no, like she's super awesome. You have, and because the women's rugby sevens got bronze, that was the first medal that women's rugby has ever gotten. There's a woman named Michelle Kang who donated $4 million to USA women's rugby program. So that's fucking awesome. You have your girl Simone Biles and her team that won gold. Sha'Carri Richardson, she's back. I don't think she's raced yet. There's a preliminary round tomorrow.
I'm very excited to see that because she has had plenty of hate to go around. Like, she's gotten kind of the wrath of it. I mean, let's face it, she has a unique vibe, a unique look. She's bringing it to the table, and I feel like she has kind of brought herself back, and I'm excited to see what she brings to the table.
I am too. Yeah, because she's one of those other ones that like will dress feminine and wear like the nails and the earrings and all of that for races, which for me, I could never. I don't know how they do it. More respect that she can, but I feel like people hate on her because of that.
Which I don't know why. I want to understand. Do I want to understand? If I understand, then I feel like I stoop to their level, right?
I feel like they just don't take women as serious if they like wear makeup or the accessories, because it's like, oh, you're less athletic because you care more about that, your looks, than the sport.
But she's not.
But she's the fastest woman in the world.
Well, is she? I don't think she's not the fastest woman in the world.
Right now she is.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. For her, like, the sprinting.
I don't think so.
This source says that she is. I mean, granted, she'll compete. I don't know when, like, the final rounds are, but so, like, today's August 1st.
She's the front door.
Yeah.
Because I know she's been kind of fighting back and forth with Jamaica right now.
No, I'm pretty sure right now she's the fastest.
Yo. Okay. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah.
All right, she's going to take up my next algorithm. Right now, Simone's just been wilding on the algorithm. Next person is
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri. I said her name wrong. Tilt me sideways and
Spank.
Push me up. No.
No. And then you have Katie Ledecky. Have you heard of her from swimming?
I've heard her name. I have not been as involved as I'd like to be with the swimming.
She is so much fun to watch because when you see her finishing, she looks like she's the only one in the pool because she's that far ahead of everyone else.
Nice.
She won by 17 seconds.
What happened?
She's just that damn fast.
Everyone's saying I really want to see like the next Olympics. Can we get an average person in the
yes.
race so we can see what normal
comparison.
is? I'm like, well, there you have it. Apparently, everyone normal is in the pool next to her.
Katie. I mean, 17 seconds. That is just like massive, especially in the Olympics.
That's unheard of. Yeah, that's really putting a statement on what the quality is across the world.
Literally blowing them out of the water.
Oh.
Pun intended. So she won her 8th medal, 8th gold medal.
Nice.
And then I don't know how many total that she has. And then have you seen that one Egyptian fencer? Her name is, I think, Nada Hafez.
No, I have
7 months pregnant.
I've heard of
and
this,
she competed 7 months pregnant. She was like, little did they know there wasn't 2 of us out there, there was 3 of us.
Who was the third?
The child.
Or who was the second?
Well, it was her competitor. So then they're like, oh, there's 2 of us. But really, there's 3.
Oh, okay. Dude, that's kind of scary, though.
7 months?
Fencing? What if it pokes your belly?
Yeah, but it's not an actual sword.
I know, but like a... Ugh. I don't know.
And
I don't know anything about
and the baby's like,
new fencer.
On God. And then there's a lady who's 58 years old competing. I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize. I think it's Ziying Zhang. 58 years old, and she's competing for China in table tennis. And this is 40 years after she expected to compete. So this woman stuck with it for 40 fucking years. If there ain't no moral of the story there to never give up, I don't know what else there could be.
I've seen a few of those. I mean, that's kind of what we're going to touch on in here in a little bit, but there's a lot that age is but a number.
But a number. I know, all these like people that get into their 30s and they're like, oh, 30s and blah, blah, blah. Like, bitch, that is not old
Some
at
are
all.
literally breaking records in their 60s.
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
In their 30s.
Oh, well, yeah, but then, they keep
now
going.
And then the last thing that I'll mention for like women's stuff popping off this year is there's a bar called Sports Bra, and it's like exclusively like women's sports.
That's funny.
And it started in Portland, Oregon, and they just announced that they're going to expand and franchise. So that's pretty awesome.
I'd go to that Sports Bra.
Yeah, I would. But like growing up, like my dad and I and Rachel, because we both played sports, like we watched women's sports. And so like when I got older and other people weren't watching women's sports, that was fucking weird to me because we grew up watching more women's shit than we did men's shit.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. Big turnarounds happening. They're making grand statements. I mean, I believe they added a nursery lounge. There's just like a lot of big moments for 2024, like you said, for the women. But overall, I mean, it's just been a grand Olympic. I mean, and boy named Steve. Have you seen that?
No. Do it again. What was that?
Steve. My friend Steve.
No.
It's our boy Steven, who...
Oh, with the glasses gymnast
Olympics.
guy. Yes.
Bless his heart. We all
what
love
a sweetheart.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Turkish... I mean, these are just a couple, right? The Turkish shooter.
Oh, shooter, yeah.
Went viral. Whole vibe.
And America got dead fucking last in shooting.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Which is so funny. Isn't that ironic?
The irony. The irony.
I mean, I'm not upset about it.
Someone made this morbid joke that we got dead last because it wasn't at a school. It was... Which...
Stop. That's fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cheers to it not being at a school.
Cheers to women's sports.
Yeah, you have me on that one. Yeah, like I said, overall, grand Olympics. I was a little concerned. Bias, sure. The intro,
I missed it, but
I had a
heard it was
sourpuss vibe going. I'm like, if
I heard it was
this
bizarre.
no, that just spoke about other things. But the overall Olympics, exceptional. Well done.
Yeah.
Overdone itself. That's not the right words. Outdid itself.
I knew exactly what you're meaning, so I didn't even
let that one go. And it's not over, so I'm excited to see where it goes. But without further ado, we've got some folks to talk about, not necessarily in the Olympics, but some firsts for some women.
Yeah.
Making some moments here.
So we've had a lot of firsts in the Olympics, but we're going to talk about women that were doing first before the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And my two ladies, I think, were first before like women could even compete in the Olympics.
I have some sad news that one of the people that you wanted me to talk about, it took a turn. I did not talk about her.
That's okay, because shocker, I have lots of details.
No, we're not going to talk about her today because she deserves her. I think she deserves her own time. She did not. Did she do a first?
Mm-hmm.
What? In what?
She swam from...
She wasn't the first for that.
First woman?
No. I found the first.
What?
So she doesn't get the spotlight today, baby. but we will give her the spotlight. In another episode, I wanted to hold you because I had a feeling you were going to go and take some moments on research, and today's not her day.
Oh, I didn't do any research on her.
Oh.
I mean, I did when we were going to make one full episode on her, and I was going to make it its own because there is some controversy around it. Oh. So I think, it should have its own.
No, I found the first for it, and it's not her. And it's
interesting.
I was a little disappointed because I really liked her, and I got really invested. But when I found, like, as I was looking into it, I'm like, who else did it?
So was it first for her age group?
I don't think she was the first person for anything.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure it was the first for her age group because it is a unique age.
Yeah.
Which we can, get
into
say later, but
teaser.
Stay with us. Okay. Are you going first or am I?
You want to rock, paper, scissors it again?
Okay.
On shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The winner goes first.
Okay. Per usual, yeah. Naturally.
Go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yes. All right, go, Gina.
All right, I butchered it so hard. Gertrude Ederle. That's my girl. I've been very excited to say something about her. Teaser, not really. She has a movie about her. Shocker. That's why I came across her.
So, yeah, I like how you're movies and I'm books.
Yeah, hands down. To be fair, the second person's not a movie, so I think I'm doing okay, but I don't know. This one is a Disney movie. I would highly recommend it. I'll tell you the movie here in a second. I know I got it somewhere up in these notes. But Gertrude, also known as Trudy, she was born in 1905 and raised in Manhattan. And her dad ran a butcher shop, and the plans for her German immigrant parents had in store for her were far from what her fate had for her. Okay. A little bit of a brief background. She and her older sister Margaret were very close, and this is captured in the movie, but this is not so much captured in all of the research I was looking into. It barely touches on her sister. I'm like, I feel like they really go hard in the movie and not so much in the research. And I mean, I'm talking 3 or 4 sources. So I'm like, well,
that's what
I don't know.
That's what media does. So you have to get the books.
I guess, yeah. I failed on that. So everything in this, I think I failed a little bit. Take it with a grain of salt. Anywho, Margaret and her were very close. But she also had other siblings. Again, so not captured in the movie.
Not important.
But her and Margaret were both close in age and relationship, so I think that was kind of a big hitter. Not to mention they were both swimmers. They both kind of evolved and grew up along the same lines. But at a young age, Trudy got measles. Mm-hmm. And it was believed she wasn't going to survive.
Oh, no.
You know anything about measles?
Don't you get the spots and shit?
The spots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like chicken pox, like me.
No, I actually don't know much about it myself, but I just know it's deadly. It's not good.
Especially depending on what year you got
it.
1905. Oh, damn.
This is not a good time for you to have measles, which was the time kind of, but anywho, she came out of it. And
nice.
Flying colors. She did, however, have some faulty with her hearing, and this is something to note of for later.
This is Gertrude, aka Trudy.
Yes.
Okay,
so she always had a love for swimming, but this was often a time where primarily men were eligible to swim. Ironically, if you've seen any photos ever, they're far and few in between of having women swimming, and when they are, they're in these really big, baggy, modest clothing.
Yeah.
Blech. I don't like wet, baggy clothes. It's uncomfortable.
It's heavy.
I don't know how that was a thing for so long, but it was. They learned how to swim at a local they as in her and her sister, right? Mm-hmm. So they learned how to swim at a local public school and the New Jersey beach. But they primarily were doing doggy paddling, or what we call doggy paddling. That was kind of the way they would swim at the time. It wasn't till later when she joined this group that they actually taught her to properly, what was
Technique.
Is it freestyle?
Freestyle.
Yeah, they taught her freestyle. I don't know if it was called freestyle at the time, but they learned that technique. Again, I'm gonna really highlight the movie here if I can figure out the damn name. I think it's something C. I'm so sorry.
Rings a bell. Something.
No. I'm gonna have to find it, but it's on Disney Plus. It's PG, so it's pretty modest and everything, but it just highlights a lot of stuff that I couldn't find in my research. However, I did look up how accurate was the movie. It really gives it a lot of credit. It's like, this was nearly perfectly accurate. Like, there's no speak of her, for example, going to the WSA, which is the Women's Swimming Association, and not getting in first thing. In the movie, it's portraying that her sister got in, not necessarily her. And she had to work the air conditioning unit or the lighting unit or whatever it was by running back coal. Back and forth.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Hard labor. And she got really flustered because she was like, are you going to let me swim? She's like,
just make me work.
No. But then eventually she made a deal with the coach. She's like, if you let me practice, then, and then it eventually became a whole thing. Again, this is from the movie. I could not find anything on this, so I'm giving a lot of spoilers here. I'm sorry. She was trying to look into if I win, then I can, or if I don't lose, the loser has to do the coal. So for a while she was losing, but after every practice, at the end of practice, she got to go and practice on her own.
Okay.
So she was motivated, and it wasn't before long that she started winning these races, and that was like a big moment. Again, why is that not captured in research? I don't know. Whether or not it's accurate, again, questionable, but it's given the movie a lot of credit for being accurate, so I don't know.
Well, the movie probably read the book or spoke to her.
Probably. Give me shame. All right, so what became frustrating is that sorry. Another big detail I couldn't find is how big the movie targets how her sister was a much better swimmer than her for a little while, and that she had proven herself worthy to train in the pool with the... Cut that out.
Okay.
Did I review this before reading it?
Of course not.
No, I did not. Okay. She eventually trains and dominates records between the ages of 15 and 19. All the while, her parents are supportive, but not so much, because quite frankly, she was pushing boundaries, and this was not favored in this time.
Right. Because this is what, like 1920s?
Yeah, give or take. 1920, 25, I think.
Can't have that. Can't have no boundary pushing.
Dude. She set, do you want to take a guess? How many world records she set during this period?
For women? 20?
Oh, that's a pretty good guess. I thought you were going to guess like 3 or 4. I'm like, 29!
Nice, all right.
29 world records. 9 of which she made in one day.
Jesus. All on a regular Tuesday.
What a deal. While competing in New York. Now, I'm not trying to, put this down. Mm-hmm. I really don't want to, because I freaking love Gertrude. She does still come out on top, later, that clearly proves herself. But I can only imagine the abilities that women had, but just weren't being challenged.
And that's one of the points that I bring up in my story as well.
I'm like, 29 records, yeah, that's amazing. But it's like,
women weren't competing.
Really not anyone else to compete
There
against.
were no opportunities for women to show what they could do.
Yes. So if she's setting 29 world records, I did, again, me failing, I didn't check to see if this was 29 world records for women or in a particular age group. I cannot confirm nor deny that. It's very blunt, but in terms of her competing against other women, it was easy as can be, because she just was a powerful beast that could just do anything. But also, I feel like she just didn't have that much competition at the time. I'll leave that alone.
But that doesn't take away from her getting the records, because someone had to set them at some point, right?
Right.
Someone had to break those barriers for other women to come into it.
Absolutely. That's the evolution. Like, it is people like her where our homegirls in 2024 in the
Katie
Olympics
Ledecky
would never have achieved. Like,
Right.
it requires one person to set a boundary, and then someone's like, oh,
To push it.
bet, you
Yeah.
know? So we still love Gertrude, but, who knows? Could there have been other Gertrudes out there at the time? We'll never know.
If they weren't housewifey, maybe.
Exactly. Again, spoiler, the sister was, I think, better than Gertrude at the time, but she chose the path to marry the butcher. So she kind of pulled herself out of swimming. She saw her sister had it and cheered her on, encouraged her to like push boundaries. But she, who started out as better than Gertrude, kind of fell back. So, things like that.
Right, she chose her path, and
Yes. Anyways, so she was in the Paris Olympics
full circle.
in 1924.
So 100 years ago.
Isn't that so cool?
That's awesome.
I was like, shut the front door. But this isn't even her like big moment. Okay, this isn't even it.
Okay.
But she takes 2 bronze and a gold with her team in the 4x100 relay. Now, not saying that most Olympians drop off after they make such an achievement in their lives, but let's just say this wasn't even close to being Trudy's peak
Nice.
in her life.
Just getting started.
Just getting started, homies. She was rising in a time where girls were not meant to rise. So women are inferior and don't deserve as much attention. Her sister, also a swimmer, was so supportive on her abilities and encouraged her to challenge further outside of short distance. So this is when she would break a record doing just this, swimming 22 miles from Manhattan's Batter Park to New Jersey's Sandy Hook. It took her 7 hours and 11 minutes. She broke a record that was held by a man. So this is where I'm saying, like, okay, now she's proving.
Okay, Trudy.
It doesn't have anything to do with other women. She's going above the other men. Like, let's fucking go. And this isn't even it.
Damn.
Okay?
Here for it.
This is like, fuck yes, but we're not done. So then she was like, I want to swim the English Channel. I'm like, go off, Trudy.
Why not?
Why not? This is between England and Europe, if you don't know, and it is 21 miles roughly. So the difference is, it is very rough. The first one was 22 miles, right?
Say longer, yeah,
but
smooth.
The channel, it's like, that's wind. That's waves.
That's the waves.
That's all the challenges
I got
of
that
the.
From that, yeah.
Only 5 people have successfully swam it by 1925.
Okay.
All men, of course.
Naturally.
So this is where
Shocker.
we're getting up there. We're
pushing
moment.
boundaries. Yeah.
Several women have tried but didn't make it, and the odds were clearly stacked against her. She tried 2 different times. To burp.
I see it trying to come out, and then
It's like right there. She tried 2 different times. First time in August of 1825, she was advised to stop by her coach.
you said 1925.
Oh gosh, yeah, big typo right there. Sorry.
I was like, hot damn, did we go way back?
Where did we go?
I didn't know that they knew how to swim in 1825.
Oh god. No, my bad. All right.
1925, got it.
So something worth noting was her swimwear. It was baggy. And
Heavy.
it was meant to be conservative, so this was a heavy one piece and would fill up with water naturally. So she designed her own swimwear for round 2, and this was lighter and tighter and cut in 2. Often you can think of our standard swimwear today.
Nice.
So not to mention the coach she had at the time was, I want to make sure I say this right, Jabez Wolf, because we're going to hate on Jabez.
Oh no.
He tried 22 times in his swimming career and never made it. There is the belief or speculation he didn't want her to succeed, and I would believe that.
Out of spite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I tried 22 times. I'm not going to let this girl get it her first try.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he convinced someone to pull her out. again, in the way that the movie is, can we just throw in the beginning of here? Spoiler.
Well, I mean, the whole point of the podcast is to tell the story.
Okay.
So, like, people can choose to watch the movie if they want to or not, but I don't think you need to give spoiler alerts. Like,
Spoiler,
the purpose
spoiler.
of the podcast is to tell the story. So,
okay. Well, the only reason I say that is because, again, I can't say this enough. Like, I feel like if all this is real, then my research is just fucked. Or if it is real, then like the stuff's not matching. I don't know what's going on here. So anyways, that's what it's saying in the research, is that someone pulled her out, where they're missing a beat where it shows and depicts in the movie that he pulls her, or he like gives her a drug that, because he has like nausea medicine, so he gives her a ton of it and the tea that she drinks in her little break time, and then gets really sick from it. So they had to pull her out. But it wasn't her. She just completely shut off because he basically was like preventing her from succeeding.
Sabotage.
Anyways, she tried again about a year later on August 6th, 1926, and this time under the wing of Bill Burgess. I hope I said that right. Who successfully crossed in 1911.
Okay.
So huge success story for himself, and he took her under his wing and coached her along the way, and here we have a success story. She started near Cape Grisnez, France, and here the water is so cold, and she had faced jellyfish, 6-foot sharks. She coated herself in grease to help with the cold and was fed snacks consisting of chicken, fruit, and soup.
Interesting choices. But back then, I guess that's what you had. You didn't
Yeah.
have like the
Don't
honey
have a
sting
snack bar.
gels. Yeah. Jelly beans.
Nope. And she succeeded this in 14.5 hours. That's 2 hours faster than the record set, and wouldn't be broken until 1950.
2 hours faster?
Yes.
And I like that it's like shorter distance, but it took twice as long.
Yes. I mean, it was all the things. I mean, here I come back to the movie. There's the shallows, right? Which is a very scary place. The boat could not go there. So in the movie, it's depicting that they had to be like, you're on your own for this last bit. So she was swimming with no direction.
No guidance.
Nothing. And for who knows how long, I guess it was probably like a couple hours, a few hours, but that's quick
scary.
to get lost.
Right.
And you're on the very last bit. But then it like shows that they all like light up the shore, and they get her
guide
home.
her.
So don't know if that was for dramatic effect, but totally stole my heart. I was like, ah! Anyways, my takeaway is we can do anything we put our mind to, and with the right support, that's for sure. I mean, she could have done a lot of things, but she was definitely, I think, held back in a lot of ways. She didn't have the right training. Her coaches were like, you're not good enough, I'm not going to train you. I mean, she had to push herself to get, until she could get the right support. And then when she had the right support, she could move mountains. So,
I mean, that's just life, you know?
Yeah.
You could make all these excuses for yourself and give up, or you could be like, fuck all that, and then still find a way to do it.
Lots of big lessons from our homegirl Trudy. Anyways, she had the biggest parade made for her in history of New York. This filled with 2 million people in the audience.
Oh, damn.
And she got to go to the White House. She appeared in movies, and she just like really took off in her life. Big star. She did slow things down when she slipped and fell in her apartment and hurt her back after taking her out. And this took her out of swimming in 1933. And then in 1940s, she became almost completely deaf. So the measles from her young childhood has finally caught up with her. She has lost her hearing, but made the most of it. Shocker. She becomes she becomes a teacher for deaf kids in the swimming community in the New York City area. And she died in November 30th of 2003 at a whopping age of 98 years old.
I was going to say, that's got to be 100 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She has got an extraordinary life. She has broke barriers like no other. And I do have here at the end some notes of some firsts for the English channel, even though my second person I want to highlight does not target the English channel, though they do cross it. That is not what I'm going to get into, and I'll say it after you have your spotlight. But yeah, the firsts for the English channel are remarkable.
Was Trudy. Trudy was the first woman, but then these other firsts that you have are...
It's like, how many, like... what am I doing, you know? It's often where I'm just very impressed. And this is only just a select few. I pulled this from a long list. Majority are like the first African American, the first Chinese, the first like Polish person, you know, like it's a lot of just different ethnicities or people from different countries doing it.
Yeah.
But then there's a handful that I'll get into that are like, what the fuck? So anyways, hype on Trudy.
Yeah. And I love how like, so people that do these like amazing, astounding feats usually end up like leading amazing, astounding lives like afterwards.
Yeah. They don't stop there. They can't. They don't have it in them.
Right, it's just who they are as people.
You think they will. I'm like, how could you possibly peak? I'm like, well, technically they did kind of like hit like the big, the big titles on newspapers and stuff in that moment, but they're still off changing so many people's lives.
Still
in
inspiring,
their own ways.
still, yeah.
Yep, good stuff.
All right, well, my person is a runner. Surprise, surprise. Surprise. Her name is Katherine Switzer. She's the first woman to officially run a marathon. Keyword being officially. And I think it's worth noting that according to Katherine, there's a lot of like inaccurate sources and misinformation out there. And so instead of just like Googling her, there's like 2 reputable sources that she mentions. One being her own memoir, of course, it's hers, and it's called Marathon Woman. And then the other is a chapter in a book called Spirit of the Marathon by Gail Keslovitz. And so I got all my information from her memoir. And a lot of people are familiar with that iconic photo of her that I think you mentioned. Also, it's a woman running a marathon surrounded by men, and then she's being yanked by this angry bald man.
Yeah.
And so I'll link it in the show notes and post it on the socials. But like when you Google her, like that is like the picture that comes up. And so that woman, excuse me. Okay. Fucking nap. So that woman is Katherine. The race is Boston Marathon, and the man is Jock Semple, who's the race manager. That's the guy who's yanking it. And the year is 1967. So it was really not that long ago. The first woman to officially run a marathon in 1967.
Yeah, if we're thinking of a first woman to swim, not just any swimming, the English Channel in 1929, you know, the running industry is a little behind on first for the ladies.
Yeah. And at this point, there was no sanctioned run for women over 1.5 miles. So they capped it for women at 1.5 miles.
1.5?
Yeah.
That's a little for me, and I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we've come a long way just from 67. Like in my mind, that's only like 30 years ago, but it's like 50-ish. But still not that long.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like our parents are that age. You're saying when they were kids, there was no eye in sight at their time that they could run.
Right, no sanctioned races for women over 1.5 miles.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and because women were deemed physiologically incapable of running more than 1.5 miles.
Okay.
Blows my mind. Anyway, so how it all begins. It was a cold, dark, chilly December morning in 1966 in Syracuse, New York, where God invented snow. And... It snows in New York like no fucking other. You have 19-year-old journalism student Katherine Switzer, and she was finishing her 6-mile run with her coach, Arnie Briggs, and then they got into an argument. So what had happened was Katherine joined the men's cross-country team at the Syracuse University because there was no women's running team. So she joined the team, but she was training unofficially. And while she was there, she met 50-year-old Arnie, who trained the team for years. And he was actually the university's mailman, and he was a veteran of the Boston Marathon. He ran 15 times up at that point. And he was stoked to see Katherine, finally like a woman, wanting to get involved in running and joining the team. So he kind of took Katherine under his wing, kind of being like a father figure type deal. And so they would often run together, and while they were on their runs, they would often talk about the Boston Marathon because Arnie had run it so many times. And so that cold, dark morning in December, they were talking about it. Katherine decided that she had had enough, and she was like, that's it. Like, let's quit talking about it and let's fucking do it. Oh, let's just run the damn thing. And because Boston is like the mecca for runners. Like, right. That is the race. And at this point in 67, I don't know how many other of the like big 6 major marathons were a thing. So I think Boston was probably like the marathon.
Do you know how long the Boston Marathon had been around?
So this would have been the 69th race.
That one was the 69th? Jesus.
The one that she does would have been the 69th year.
And it's every year?
Yeah.
So this has been around since about 1900?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a long time for a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Arnie, they were arguing because he rebuked her, like, was like, no, woman can't run a marathon, reminded her that, like, women technically can't run these sanctioned races that are over, like, a mile and a half. And he also falsely believed that women were fragile and incapable of running that distance. So Katherine, being the baddie that she is, was like, well, I'll prove it to you. She's like, Arnie, you and I, let's go run 26.2 miles, and I will show you that I can do it.
Oh, okay.
And so he agreed to that because he was like, all right, if you run 26.2 miles, then we'll sign up. They go, they run the 26.2 miles, and Katherine is so elated that she did it, she's all hyped, that she decides, let's run 5 fucking more miles. And to which Arnie, he's not going to bitch out, so he was like, okay. So she's like thriving, and Arnie is like struggling.
Yeah.
But so they do 5 more miles. Arnie collapses, and Katherine's just like hooting and hollering, like, we're going to Boston, baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because like prior to that, she was running like 10 miles a day easily. So she was like, if I can do 10, like I can train and do 26.2.
Yeah, of course. If you could do 10, you can do why not another?
Why not? Double that. But when her and Arnie ran, like they ran like 30 something. So she was able to do 26.2
yes.
And she was fine. And so technically there was no written rule on the entry form for Boston that said women couldn't sign up. It was just a known rule that you weren't allowed to, that you couldn't. So technically when they signed up, she wasn't really breaking any rules, but she also wasn't going to risk it. So Katherine, she pays the $3 entry fee. That's how much it cost back then to sign up. Amazing. It's like $300 fucking dollars today. $3 back then, but then she signs up as KV Switzer. So she uses her initials instead of her name, Katherine.
Oh, okay.
And then she was also signing up with Arnie and then her boyfriend. So they were kind of signing up as a team. So you got Arnie Briggs and Tom Miller. She's signing up with 2 other men.
We love a boyfriend that's supportive of this.
We do, but we end up not becoming a fan of Tom.
What?
Tom becomes a shithead.
Okay.
But so it wasn't suspicious, their entry, because it looks like just like a bunch of dudes. And so fast forward to Tuesday, April 18th, 1967, the day before the marathon. This crew, they load up and they make the 5-hour drive to Boston. And when they get there, Arnie, who decides he wants to drive the course and show them, like, hey, this is where you're going to be running, pointing out the landmarks, etc. Katherine starts to get nervous because they're like driving this route, and the gravity of how long 26.2 miles really is hits her hard.
But she's already done it.
And that's what...
with flying colors.
Right. I mean, doubt still creeps in.
Okay.
Also, anything can happen on race day. So she's just getting nervous. It's the day before. It's natural. So she calls her dad, And first she actually has to explain what a marathon is. Like, hey dad, I'm doing this thing. And he's like, what is that thing? And then she has to explain it's 26.2 miles. And then she explains like how important it is for her to finish it. No other woman has been here before. And she says, quote, my dad was acutely aware when it came to any anxiety on my part. I never reached out with a lack of confidence unless it was serious. And he delivered perfectly. He says, "Oh, hell, kid, you can do it. You're tough and you've trained. You'll do great."
He didn't know, but he's like, yeah, sounds fine. Like, you'll get it.
What is that? Oh, shit. You can do that.
Love it.
Which I love, and I put that in there because, like, parents and friends, I don't think you realize, like, how much of an effect, like, your words and support have on other people, especially in those times of doubts. Because like when my sister and I, we were training for the New York Marathon, we would usually run the long runs together. So I had my sister as like support, and like it just never crossed my mind that we wouldn't finish it because we're both holding each other accountable, and we're gonna do the 15 miles or whatever our long run distance was. But there was one day where she couldn't run with me, and so I have to go by myself, and it was 17 miles that I had to do. Never done it before, and it's like a 30-minute drive to the trail. The whole time driving there I was like fine, but as soon as I see the trail I'm like, oh shit, 17 miles. We're training in the summer because New York is in the fall, so the bulk of your training is in the summer. It's 8 a.m. but it's already hot as balls because fucking Midwest. Here we are, and all of a sudden it like all the doubt hit me. I was like, oh shit, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. Because it's not like, you know, however far out I go is however far back I have to come. So even if I get 8 miles out and I'm like, I can't do it, there's no fucking way for me to get back without walking or running back. So it's just like an oh shit moment. So I immediately call my dad and I, you know, like, hey, I don't know if I can do this. That's a lot. And without skipping a beat, he was like, yeah, you can. Of course you can.
Okay, say that again.
Well, he was just like reassuring that I could. He was like, you're gonna kick ass, you're gonna take names. Like there was no doubt on his end. So immediately I felt like 100% better. I was like, damn straight, you're right, I can do it. And then I go and I do the 17 miles. But so it's like whenever she was explaining that part with her dad, it reminded me of me doing the same thing with my dad.
Good, I love that.
Race day, Wednesday, April 19th, 1967. It's a gray, frigid morning. Snow is coming down. And 741 people are listed in the race program. Nowadays, you have like thousands, but back then, 741. And back then, that was a lot also. Arnie, being the team captain, he went and got the bibs. So at this point, no one is kind of like really noticing Katherine. Some of the people are there that they're warming up. They're like nervous and laser focused and kind of focusing on their own thing. There are other men that are kind of warming up, and then they see her and do like a double take. But she said all the men that she saw like pre-race were super stoked to see her. She got nothing but like encouragement and was like, that's fucking awesome. And some of them were even asking her like, hey, what advice can you give me to get my wife to start running? Because I think she would really love it.
Aww.
So like there was just a bunch of like hype men around her before the race. So they get to the start. So they've done their warm up. She's gotten all hyped up. They get to the start, and Katherine puts on lipstick, which again, that reminded me of Alona Mar. And I was like, pop off, sister. Like, yes. And her boyfriend, Tom, who we don't like, gave her shit for it. He was like, what are you doing putting on lipstick? You're just going to draw attention to yourself. And she was like, yeah, that's the fucking point. She's like, I'm the first woman doing this, and I want to wear the lipstick, so I'm going to wear the lipstick. And so she holds her ground, and she doesn't take it off. And so gun goes off, race starts, there's the excitement, there's the adrenaline, there's all the cheers in the crowd. So the first miles of the marathon are like, they're great. And the first miles of any marathon are always the easiest because you have all that excitement and adrenaline and the crowd. Mile 4 is when shit hits the fan. So there was like this press truck or a van that was driving on course. And they were taking pictures of people, getting video, etc. And that's when they spotted Katherine. And it was like a big fucking deal because they're like, holy shit, a woman is running the Boston Marathon. So they're getting lots of pictures, and it's drawing a lot of attention. And it drew the attention of Jock Semple, who was the race manager at the time. And Katherine didn't know this, but so she's running, and then all of a sudden she hears like this clop, 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 like behind her, of like these leather shoes running. And she was like, that's weird, because no one should be running in leather shoes. And so she jerks her head to see who it is, and she said she looked square into the most vicious face she had ever seen. It was this big man, huge man, with bare teeth, and he was set to pounce. And before she could react, he grabbed her shoulder and flung her back, screaming, "Get the hell out of my race! Give me those numbers!" And then he grabs the front of her shirt, trying to rip off the bib, and you got your iconic photo that is now out there, because that press van was there still.
What timing?
Right?
Because now he looks like the biggest fucking twat
Ever.
in history. Literally.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Jock Semple is his name. I'm gonna say it again. And so she's running with the guys, right? So she's got Arnie and she's got Tom, and they do fight him off. And eventually, though, because he's like, like a stubborn bastard and he's got a good grip on, her boyfriend Tom does punch the shit out of him to the point, like, he gets knocked out.
Nice, Tom.
So that's the one thing that we like. And then he shouts, like, "Run like hell!" And so, they take off. They've got that next burst of adrenaline because they just fucking punched the guy. Mm-hmm. And they keep running, and eventually Jock catches up to them. This time he's on a van. So
God.
he traded his leather shoes for a van. And it says that he screams in his Scottish accent. And I can't do a Scottish accent, but...
Let me have it. What is it?
"You're all in big trouble." I said I can't do it.
What the fuck was that? That wasn't even...
Not even close. Oh, you are with Greg. You do a Scottish accent.
I'm gonna sound like an asshole
you all are in big... She spelled it out.
You all are in big trouble.
God bless. Yeah, that was
a little better at least. What the fuck was that? Came out of you. You're all in big trouble.
Fuck me. My brain just went like the wires just.
Fair though, because the Scottish accent's hard.
It is, and I can't do fucking accents to save my life. They could put a gun to my head and be like, "Give me a Scottish accent," and I'd be like, "You're all in big trouble." I go straight country.
That was good.
Anyway, he yells that, and then the other runners are like flicking him off, and they're pushing him off. So she's got the support of the other runners as well. So another reason we don't like Tom is he gets mad at Katherine. They start running, and then he's getting mad at her because it's Katherine's fault that he hit the race official, and he's going to get in trouble. Also, that Katherine could prove a point. Because of her, his chances of competing in the Olympics are now gone because he punched the AAU official. And Katherine was like, "Sir,
is this whole argument happening during
the run?" Yes, during the run. And she's like, "Tom, you're the one that fucking punched him. I didn't ask you to. You did." And she was like, "Tom, that wasn't me. That was you, Tom." Tom.
We know one Tom, and I can just feel this conversation happening between Jody
and Tom.
Not to do any call outs, but I just hear this argument happening.
All I could picture was our Tom, who's like the nicest, sweetest guy ever, and like the biggest supporter. So we love a Tom, but we don't love this Tom. This Tom throws a tantrum. He rips off his bib and he rips it into shreds, stomps it on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Full-blown man-child tantrum. And then he yells at them that they are running too slow. And
who's them?
Like Katherine and Arnie, like the group.
Okay.
So he's yelling at them that they're going way too fucking slow. So he takes off. Essentially, Katherine and Tom break up during the marathon. Mind you, this is at mile 6. So all of this has happened within the first 6 miles.
Okay.
All of this drama has happened, and they have 20 more miles to go. And so that really sinks in with Katherine. Like, it's been a whole lot, and they've just started.
Yeah.
And so naturally, doubt creeps in. She's like, should I even do it? I have so much more to go. Can I even do it? And, you know, in any marathon, any runner will usually hit a wall. And so she kind of hit her wall early with all of this. And you've had 2 adrenaline spikes already and have already come down. But she puts her head down and she's determined to finish. So they keep running, more miles go by, some of the energy starts coming back, especially when they can start hearing the cheer of the crowd. And who did they just so happen to see? Oh, it's Tom, who has started walking. And so they're starting to run by Tom, and then Tom is yelling and begging for them to, like, hey guys, just walk with me for a second. You want to just stay with me. And Katherine...
Didn't he rip off his bib? How is he even competing right now?
Yeah, I guess he's still going. I don't know if
Okay.
they're going to count whatever. There's not a tracker back then like there is now. It's a lot more lax. But so Katherine runs by and is like, sorry, Tom, you're going a little too slow for us, and just keeps on fucking going.
That's a breakup right there.
It's a full-blown breakup. Chances of getting back together, 0.
Oh, man.
But ironically, he shouts at her, I'd never leave you. And she was like, yeah, you did. You left 5 minutes ago. It's not even been 5 seconds when you fucking left me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, with a marathon, one thing that you do have is a shit ton of time. And in that time, you have a lot of time to think. So, Katherine is just thinking, just thought after thought. And she's thinking about how shitty Tom is and how Jock Semple attacked her. And then she's wondering why other women didn't run and thinking, like, you know, they just don't get it. Like, why don't they run? So she's like fuming. You know, the more that she's thinking, the angrier that she becomes, which fuels her on her run. And then she's thinking, well, maybe the women that aren't running, maybe they actually believe all of the myths that have been shoved down their throats since birth, that they're incapable of running, or that if they run, then it's gonna like fuck up their reproductive organs, or because they don't have a dick between their legs, that they're just physiologically incapable of doing it. And so it occurs to her then that, you know, there are no intercollegiate sports for women at big universities. There's no scholarships, there's no prize money, there's no races longer than the 1.5 miles because women don't have those opportunities. No one is pushing those limits. No one is doing what she's doing.
Lots of thoughts going on here.
Lots of thoughts. Yeah, she has a
She's curing cancer during this whole
she has a full-blown
marathon.
epiphany. And so then she thinks that, you know, now I am responsible for finishing this to create those opportunities for those women.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, she's like, I have no choice but to finish. And I love that she felt responsible for those opportunities. And, I mean, she fucking did it. So she pushed through the pain, she finished, and she was the first woman to officially complete the marathon. And, you know, look where we're at now. We've got all these races, and it's funny and interesting because women are actually better the longer the distance is. So, like, at ultra marathons, women are better than men. So it's like, okay, in the 20s, we thought...
Are they?
Yeah. If you look up ultra marathon, more women get first.
What?
So that's like distances over the marathon. Because in the marathon, like, men still, you know.
What's the difference between an ultra marathon and a marathon?
Ultra marathon is just anything longer than a marathon. So, like, anything over 26.2. I think it usually starts at, like, 30.
That's so weird. Why wouldn't... Okay. What's the difference? Like, why...
I guess because women just have the patience to go longer. Or, like...
But they can't win the marathon, but they can win the ultra marathon?
Ultra marathon is not about, like... Yes, some are about speed, but it's, like... I don't know. the longer it is, the more even the playing field becomes. And men aren't winning like marathons by like a shit ton in the grand scheme of it. I mean, the fastest marathon I think for a man is like 2 hours, and then for women, I want to say maybe like 2:08, 2:10. So I mean, like minutes. That's really not that long.
Yeah. I don't know. I can barely get through 3 miles, so.
And remember, she did all of this when she was like 19 or 20 years old. That's a lot.
That's a lot of pressure, too.
For a 19, 20-year-old. Yeah.
I still cannot believe these kinds of runs have been around for only 50, 60 years.
For women.
It's been longer than that now. We're talking 70. But still.
Right. Less than 100 years.
Why in my head did I think that running has been around for like 200 years?
Well, I mean, the very first marathon was like AD. But like for women,
yeah,
it's not been a thing.
It's so crazy though. And for you to say that the Boston Marathon has been around since around roughly 1900, and we're saying that the first woman was 1969. That's roughly 69 years.
67.
Okay.
67 years.
Just men.
Yeah.
Spotlighted on these big, I don't know. I really don't want, it's so hard. Quick tangent. It's so hard to not give credit where it's due to men that have accomplished big firsts, because it's almost taken for granted a little bit, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, because they highlight men just all the time.
Well, they do, but they don't, because like we're pushing away from it so much. So like lately, they are not in the spotlight, but we are still having so many men just doing great things, and it's like, sorry guys, like you deserve a highlight, but
you've had your time.
Let us have our time.
Let us have our spotlight.
And it's very exciting to see these women do these big grand things. Just in the last 200-300 years, if that, it's really not been that long.
I was gonna say in the last like couple years.
I'm talking like
these
first for women, because women have only ever started doing firsts in sports at all in early 1900s.
As I say, 1900s.
I think there are some late 1800 firsts for women in sports, but as long as sports have been around at all, I mean, we have come a very long ways. Very exciting. All right, I'm gonna crank into the next one.
Okay. Well.
You're not.
I wasn't done.
Okay.
Well, it was just a quick her influence didn't stop after the Boston Marathon because of her in 1972, Boston accepts women into its field, but they required the women to meet men's qualifying times. They're like, all right, you want equality? You have to equal the time, which was 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is fucking fast.
Okay.
I will just say. But 8 women enter. They make that qualifying time in 1972. And then Nina Kushik, she won for women in 3 hours and 10 minutes. And then that same year, Katherine, her and others launched the first ever women's only road race. So it was 6 miles. They called it Crazy Legs New York Mini Marathon. Very first year, 78 women signed up and partook in it.
Wow.
The very first
How many years was this after our homegirl?
Did it?
Yeah.
And
what was her name?
Katherine Switzer.
Okay.
I don't know what year it was same year. So 1972 was when she made that race. 72.
Wait, I thought it was 1969.
67 is when she did Boston, but 72 is when Boston allowed women to race, and then 72 is the same year that she created that woman's only road race.
Okay, so that's what I was going to get at, is that it took about 3 years, give or take, for
5 years. Math.
All right, that seems a little bit longer than I thought it was. But 5 years, but in those 5 years, you can probably tell the women are starting to train. They're inspired. They're seeing her do that big moment. They're starting to find out about her. It's rising. We are rising. We go at dawn.
We ride at dawn.
So yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, and then the other really interesting thing is that you know, Katherine has more highlights and influences that we won't get into, but she was inspired by another woman to run, and that other woman is my other person.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And damn shame, because great women all around, and we're only slotting them so much time, so.
Right, scratching the surface.
Damn shame. Do you know Diana Nyad?
That's the name I fucking gave you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People? So we are spotlighting first, and just a little bit of a disappointment for Maria. We are not going to be talking about her today.
Oh, I was getting all confused. I was like...
Like, pew.
Yeah.
Pew. No. It's funny because you look her up and she has so much more to her name, because she was also like a journalist, a public speaker, an American author. She's also a swimmer.
Right.
Swimmer's like the third or fourth thing on her list of grand things.
Yeah, motivational speaker is like the first one that like comes up. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. But she was born on August 22nd, 1949. So she is today 74 years old.
So you are talking about her?
No.
Oh.
I just want to hype it up.
Okay.
Just to tear it down.
You keep confusing me.
She was 64 years old when she did this grand spanking swim that Maria told me about. And when I started looking into her, I was just absolutely enthralled. Like, this was just, it was magical. And then it kind of got stolen. The spotlight was stolen when I found out she was not the first. And for the sake of us talking about firsts, I will not be talking about Diana, but I'm doing a little bit of a teaser
Yeah.
that we will definitely be giving her own spotlight on another episode, because she is just absolutely legendary. But yeah, just thought I'd, give you some food, and then as you're looking at it,
Take it away. Smell this ice cream. Can't have it.
No, we're going to be talking about Susan Jean Maroney. And Maroney. Maroney. Maroney.
There's 5 different pronunciations.
3, okay. I say 3 years, you say 5. I say 3 pronunciations, you say 5. Okay. She was born in November 15th. I keep saying
in November.
God damn it. Born on November 15th, 1974. This is an Australian, and will also go down in history as a bad bitch. Surprise.
What?
We are only talking about bad bitches today. She was 4 years old when she started swimming, and 7 when she started competing. And at age 13, she realized she could do long distance swims. So she didn't graduate high school, but she did make the most of her destiny. And in 1989, she was really recognized for her long distance swimming at age 14, when she got 3rd in the Australian Marathon Swimming Championships for women. One first she accomplished was she swam from Manly, New South Wales to Darling Harbour and back in just 7 hours.
So how many miles is that?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay.
It was just a big first, and I was like, dope. But that's not it, So.
It was a lot, is all that matters.
She also broke the English Channel speed record in 1990.
Okay. So she beat Trudy's record?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, someone else did in like 1950.
Okay.
She broke other records, basically. Because again, things evolved. Like,
right. You get better training programs, suits, food, etc.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she did kind of continue to break other records from the English Channel, which it's so, in a way, frustrating and to put these two ladies back to back, because it almost takes away from what Trudy has earned.
I don't think so.
I'm glad you see that, because I'm like, it's 2 different time zones. It's a very different world, and it makes Trudy look like, all for no. We are gonna completely take that out of the equation. You had to do it.
Trudy broke the ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen, sister.
It's the 3rd. Mike Tyson.
Anyways, and like I mentioned at the beginning, I come to find that the crossing the channel became like a super known thing. So like fucking people were just doing it left and right.
It has never occurred to me to try and attempt that.
Well,
apparently for some people it does. Lots of people it does.
I think now could be your first
potential added to the list of why not
Wally wackadoodle shit Maria wants to accomplish in her life.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Susan. So she surpassed a couple of people in speed and records, but to think she was so young is, I think, what was really dope about it. I think she was about 16 years old at that time.
Which is wild.
Yeah. On the higher note, so in 1997, this is the year I was born. Okay. This is
Fetus.
the year Tina came into the world.
It was a phenomenal year.
Susan became known as the first woman and second person to swim the 180-kilometer Florida Straits from Cuba to the United States. In 1998, about a year later, she swam another record of 197 or 122 miles from Mexico to Cuba, covering the longest distance at the time to swim without flippers in the open sea.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. So my brain was trying to do math. So
Okay.
from Florida to Cuba, that's what you said, right?
Yep.
I don't do kilometers. How many miles? Oh, this said 485, but it gave me from a place in Cuba to Tampa, so that is not it.
Oh, okay.
You said 108 kilometers?
Uh-huh. Wait, did I say 108? No, in 1990, 180 kilometers.
Okay, 180 kilometers. 2 miles. That's 112 miles. That is absurd.
Mm-hmm. And that's not even it. Because then she goes and the next year swam the next record of 197, which is 122 miles from Mexico to Cuba.
That's absurd.
She has covered the longest distance. So the one that you were wanting to cover of our
Right,
homie.
so why does her name pop up and not Susan?
I think it has a lot to do with her age, because it is still absolutely fucking phenomenal. But she was not the first.
Right, but like Susan's age is also fucking young.
Yeah, she was 22 years old.
Yeah, Susan, what was the last name? Marinara?
Maroney. Marinara.
Marinara. Marinara. I mean, you can keep going. I'm
Okay.
gonna just look up pictures.
So, this is covering the longest distance at the time to swim without flippers in the open sea. These are shark-infested
Yeah.
straits, right?
Jellyfish, all of it.
The whole 9 yards. And I apologize, I didn't say this when we were talking about Trudy. She also was dealing with heavy jellyfish and all that good
The
stuff.
stings.
So she does at some point go through a lot of jellyfish stings, and she got fucking beat up, battered, but she comes out of it. It's amazing. But same for her, same ordeal. She swam this thing for 24 and a half hours. So this is where things got confusing for me. And so when I looked more into it, I was like, get this. I was really, okay. So she was, I was saying like 24 and a half hours, 35, 38 hours. Turns out she did it twice. But in the first time, she was concluded as incomplete due to her being taken out right at the end
Get
due
out.
to hallucinations and vomiting.
Okay, at the end, like, are we saying like there's just like yards ahead, or is like still like a couple miles?
Didn't get the exact amount, but she was like so fucking close.
Oh,
And
damn.
keep it 38 hours. So when she does it the second time, she cuts that in such a huge chunk, ending her final go at 24 and a half hours and successfully.
That's a huge difference.
So I was like, go off.
I wonder what she did different the second time than the first, or maybe because like she knew more what to expect, or
I don't know. And I don't know why this is so not related and so not important, but she's still around, right? She's
Yeah.
like 47, 48 years old. She's beautiful. I mean,
I see the picture. Yeah,
it just, I don't know. You wouldn't really think of her as like I'm going to go swim this crazy 120 miles. Like, what? No. Okay. Maria's like,
well, I'm looking
really
at pictures. Well, I think that also like goes into like the stereotype of like, oh, because a woman wears lipstick, she's less athletic because she's a blonde, beautiful woman.
I think that's why I was taken aback, because I was like, she's beautiful. Why is she doing that? My ass is stereotyping.
Is doing it, yeah.
So, anywho, so she tries 11 months later. So she failed the first time, tries again, and succeeds. But I want you to note, some of the photos are pretty cool. She does this in a 28 by 8 foot cage for protection. She was in a shark cage.
From the shark, yeah.
To protect her. I was like,
that's wild.
What?
So the cage just goes with her?
I was really trying to understand that too. Basically, yes. Like it was tied to a boat, and the boat just had to make sure it was like staying out of her way. She couldn't touch anything.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure on the boat captain. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Did they have DD captaining the boat? Probably.
I was thinking.
Captain DD.
So at the end of this, she was sunburned, covered with welts from jellyfish stings, and a swollen tongue from the salt water. But of course, she was lathered in petroleum jelly, but not only to help her with the temperature of the water, but also to ward off the jellyfish. I guess it didn't work very well.
Or probably would have been a whole lot worse if she didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The thing that got me was how she got through the whole thing. It was just so cute and innocent, and also like the fact that it was not that long ago. I was like, holy shit! Like I watched that in my living room like just the other night. She got through it by singing Madonna in her head and remembering like Seinfeld shows.
Wow.
Because that was like during her time. So
right, yeah.
I'm like, no fucking way. Yeah.
Puts it in perspective. It was really not that long ago.
She did not stop this. So we are currently, to put that in perspective, to add on to that, we're seeing these records happening, nonstop, right? But for not to put anything down on some of the records from the Olympics and whatnot, but a woman has swam for the first woman in history, the second person of all time,
to country,
122 miles in the time that I was alive. This is all about me. Welcome to Gina's story.
This is in my world.
I just thought that was absolutely wild that I'm living in a time where there are still like these groundbreaking, revolutionary, very historical, amazing moments. Yes. Yeah. So go off. She didn't stop there. Surprise, surprise.
Of course
as we had
not.
talked about. I'm coming up here on the end. So she did not stop there. However, she did hit some heartache times. In 1999, she's admitted to the hospital following a 675 lap swim for charity due to an asthma attack.
Jesus.
675.
Typical Tuesday.
And she has actually done so much, but unfortunately,
words.
These are my notes, really. I didn't have time to dive into Satan's butthole for all the details. There's my notes.
The little, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm telling you, when I was going, I went to a timeline, and that was literally in bullet point form. Loved those. Because it really just spots, like,
high
no
level.
Noise, just spotlight all the good stuff. Dude, she has done so much, and we're coming up at like the last 10 minutes I had to like crank the rest of my stuff out, so I didn't get to add it in here. I'm so sorry, girl.
We could do like a follow-up.
We might have to sometime. I mean, it was just amazing. But in conclusion, she is around 49 years of age today. She has 3 young kids, one of which, her oldest, is in love with her story. How could you not be?
That's your mom.
And wants to conquer the English Channel herself. Her name is Paris.
Look at us coming full fucking circle
I know.
again. Paris Olympics, 100 years, Paris, the daughter.
So if you're like me, I am very much Team Paris right now. And I'm just like, I believe in you, Paris.
I want her to like beat her mom's records.
Yes.
I think her mom would probably want her to beat her records.
Yes. It would be her kids' names are just so extraordinary. I love it so much. But I think one was like River, then you have Paris. I forgot what the other one was, but I just
Ocean.
Super hippie is all I'm saying. And she just has. I watched her in an interview. She just has such a welcoming, like arms open smile. Mm-hmm. She just makes you want to like
be friends with her.
Not just be friends, but just like she's just such a mom. I just want to give her. I want to not give her a hug. I want her to hug me.
Hug me, Susan. Fix my life. Some of you rub off on me, please.
Please. She's I think a wonderful woman, and again, still around. I can't get over that. That we're not talking about people that have long passed and their big stakes have been standing around for a hot minute. This is very recent. This is
you
a
could
big
still
deal.
Meet her and talk to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And low-key a goal.
Add it on the list.
Hi,
Susan, if you hear this,
if you want to come and,
be a guest.
my name's Gina, and I would like a hug. Thank you.
Yeah. Put in
All
the
right.
request.
Hit it, girlfriend.
All right. My second one I made shorter because my first one was so long. And knowing us, what we would probably do. So, Katherine Switzer, the first woman to officially run the marathon, was inspired by the first woman to unofficially run the Boston Marathon, Bobbi Gibb. So Bobbi Gibb ran it before Katherine, but it was unofficial.
I was wondering if that would have happened, or how that would happen if it happened to Kathleen? Katherine, Jesus. Okay.
And it was only 1 year prior. So Bobbi Gibb, she did it in 66. Katherine, immediately inspired, goes and does it officially in 67. And who knows how many other women were running on their own and doing 26 miles or so.
Sounds like a lot, because it doesn't just come out of fucking nowhere.
Right.
No.
But so Bobbi was the first one to actually run a marathon course, but it was unofficial. And we will see why. And just like Katherine, there is another iconic photo. Because if you Google first woman to run marathon, both of them pop up. You have Katherine with Jacques trying to grab her bib, and you got the men trying to ward her off. And then you have Bobbi, who's sitting there in a chair. She's got a wool blanket on, and she's smiling up at the camera. And you can tell this is obviously post-marathon. Mm-hmm. So there's two iconic photos. We'll put both of them out there.
What's her name one more time?
Bobbi Gibb.
Okay.
All right. So Bobbi was also a running lover, and she would sometimes run up to 40 miles at a time. So very clearly, physiologically, woman can fucking do it, and she's doing 40 miles on her own. And she also wanted to run the Boston Marathon because, like I said, Boston is the mecca for runners. And so where she went wrong is that she sent an application letter to register. And shortly after she sent that letter for a registration form, she got a rejection letter. And it says, quote, "We have received your request for an application for the Boston Marathon and regret that we will not be able to send you an application. Women are not physiologically capable of running a marathon, and we would not want to take on the medical liability. Furthermore, the Boston Marathon is a men's division event. The rules of international sports and amateur athletic union do not allow women to run races more than the sanctioned 1.5 miles. Sorry, we could not be of more help. Sincerely, Will Cloney."
Oh, Will Cloney.
Will
Fucking
Cloney.
tick bomb. Little did he know.
Little did he know. And if there is anything that history has never learned, is that if you do not want a woman to do something, then don't fucking piss her off about it. Because 10 out of 10 fucking times, she then goes and does the same thing that you did not want her to do out of anger, spite, whatever. She then goes and does the fucking thing.
That's right.
That's right. And so, of course, this rejection letter fueled Bobbi's fire, and it was a fire during an era where a lot of previously accepted societal norms, especially revolving around race, gender, and gender roles, were being challenged. So she's like, I'm gonna go ahead and add to that challenge. This is all the 60s, specifically 66. So, at this point, Bobbi had been running for over a decade. It was like 12 years. So she didn't need a coach per se. And she also has a memoir like Katherine titled Wind in the Fire. And in it, she talks about having zero clue on how to train. She didn't even have like running clothes or running shoes. She was running in like her nurse's shoes that were really like big and heavy. And she was just running for the sake of running and for the peace that it brought her, which, same. And after she got that rejection letter, though, she now had purpose and she had a goal. So that rejection letter was not going to keep Bobbi from running in Boston. Her journey to get to Boston is also just as historical and astounding because it started off with a disagreement between her and her husband thought that she couldn't do it and shouldn't do it. So she tells him to fuck off, and she hops on her little motor scooter, and then she drives that motor scooter to the bus station, and then she takes a bus from San Diego to Boston, which is over 3,000 miles. And while en route, she would like hop off, and then she bought herself some men's running shoes because obviously they're not selling women's running shoes because women shouldn't be running. It took her 3 days to get there. So race day arrives. It's April 19th of 1966. This is the 68th year. And this is like pre-security and like pre-Boston bombing. And so security is not like how it is today. And so one of the common things to do was non-registered folk, they would sneak into the race via like the back or through these bushes, and then they would just run the race unregistered just to run it. So Bobbi joins this group, and within this group, she is going to make history. So gun goes off, race starts, and for the first 5 miles or so, like Bobbi is like a nervous wreck because she's worried that at any point someone is going to yank her off the course. But like Katherine, she was getting a lot of encouragement and cheers from the other male runners. Like they're telling her, go girl, go. They're shouting like, keep on running, like you got this. And so after the 5 miles, she starts to relax and get into it. And she also had more sense of comfort because there was this group of guys led by Alan Chamberlain, and they were so supportive and so stoked to have another woman that they told her that they will run with her and they will make sure no one pulls her off the course.
This is the kind of running community.
Yes, and these are the men that we love. Mm-hmm. And so they gather around her and they run with her to the end. And Bobbi is fucking booking it. Like she's running and she realized that she was running like a sub 3 hour marathon pace. So which is fast as fuck. For someone that was running in like just men's shoes and didn't even know what kind of running clothes that she should wear. Mm-hmm. And so she realized she was going fast as fuck, boy. Mm-hmm. So she slowed down because she wanted to be able to finish it. Also, like she hit her wall and she's got broken blisters, the quads be screaming, she's dehydrated, and the temptation to quit had like set in. Mm-hmm. But she knew, like, if I can't quit now. And so she is struggling mentally till she comes around the corner, and then all of a sudden she sees the crowd and starts cheering, and then the group of guys that she's with are like cheering her on, and there's this bus of other runners, men, who had dropped out, so they get on this bus and they go and they cheer on other people during the race. So they've got this bus that's also cheering her on. Mm-hmm. So of course she finishes strong. She finished in 3 hours and 20 minutes, which is in the top third of runners. Which is fucking wild.
She got one of third place?
No, the
third fraction.
Yeah, the top 1/3. The top 33%.
Okay.
And so as soon as she finishes, then, our boy Alton, he goes and he welcomes her, congratulates her. Someone puts on that iconic wool blanket that is in the photo. And then she shakes a hand of a, quote, nice looking, square built man in a dark blue wool coat. He is the governor of Massachusetts, John Volpe, who'd come down to congratulate her. The governor himself congratulated this woman, knowing that she was not technically allowed to run it.
Why wasn't she allowed? There was nothing that said she couldn't.
Well,
'cause she
so
was
that
rejected at the
rejection
beginning.
letter, yeah.
Sorry.
And they didn't officially register her.
Okay.
So she ran without a number, without a bib. She just, as soon as it started, she ran with the other runners.
Okay.
And so she was the first woman to unofficially run a marathon. So you had
Wow.
her, and then you had Katherine next year. So after all this, Bobbi did remarry. She was like, screw that guy who
Oh,
didn't
man.
support me. So both women. I like how it's like very parallel. Like Katherine lost Tom, and then Bobbi lost whatever that guy was, and got remarried. She earned her undergrad in both math and philosophy. And no fucking big deal, she also got a law degree while she was working on, I don't know how you pronounce it, epistemology, and color vision at MIT. So this boss bitch, math, philosophy, law degree at MIT. She's a critically acclaimed sculptor and author. She was named into the Roadrunners of America Hall of Fame in 1982, and then in June of 2011, the Sports Museum honored her with the Running Legacy Award at their annual tradition ceremony. Bad fucking B.
Extraordinary.
Right. So like all these people that do like these amazing things are just like amazing fucking people that do other amazing things outside.
I really want to know how someone. I feel like there's something in the waters or in the stuff they're eating, like
just genetics. They're just like they just have like that extra spark or drive.
Yeah, I understand. I see people driven all the time, but that is clearly next level.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. It's a few and far in between. Coincidentally, for this circumstance with your runners, it was like back to back in a year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. Hello, Cleo. Okay, I want to finish by spotlighting some of those first for the people that went from the English Channel. I was really trying to hit what are some firsts? There are firsts in everything.
For everything, yeah.
Literally.
Someone's got to be a first at something.
But first in their age group. It could really start to trickle down and get more specific. But we are doing a little more generic, and in my case, when I was doing the English Channel specifically, and not just doing the first of different, country or citizenships, different age groups, male, female, even though we do spotlight, obviously, the first female, I do kind of go down some other thoughts, and I just wanted to highlight them because it was just I don't know, it was just cool.
All right, pop off.
Mix of male and female, okay?
Okay,
so in 1958, Brojan Das, 1035. I should have put their countries. I didn't put all their countries. But first Asian, and I spotlighted him because he had the quickest time. This is 10 hours
and 35.
Yes.
Wow.
And from Burkrumper, East Pakistan,
Yeah.
Okay. And now Bangladesh swam the English Channel. In 1961, Antonio Abertondo at 43:10, the first person to swim the channel both ways nonstop.
Okay.
In 1977, Cindy Nicholas from Canada, 1955. Also, for the both ways, so it's 22. It's 44, roughly. We were just talking about our homegirl that did 122 miles in an open sea. I don't know the whole sciences behind an ocean and a channel. So how more rapid are the waves, and
right,
I don't know
difference?
What's the nature behind what they're dealing with. So
right, which is harder,
variables.
Which is easier, and why?
Yeah, exactly. I do understand though the channel is a little bit of a mix of a river and an ocean, so it's very
choppy.
Yes, very choppy. I never swim in the middle of an ocean, so I don't know. But anyways, okay, so 1977, Cindy Nicholas from Canada, 1955. First woman and youngest swimmer at the time to swim at the channel both ways nonstop. Okay, 1998, John McLean, 1255, first paraplegic to swim the channel. Because
Really?
now we're getting to that in our lives. Like, the paraplegics are fucking swimming the English Channel.
So we just
Did you catch my time, by the way?
Your time?
For John McLean, first paraplegic, 1255, faster than Trudy's.
Using just his arms?
He's breaking records as a fucking paraplegic.
That is wild.
Like, he didn't just do it the damn thing. He did the damn thing and broke records. I'm just saying. 2010, Felipe Crozion, 1328, first quadruple... Did I just butcher that? First quadruple amputee to swim the English Channel.
Really? So how did he swim it?
I don't know. I didn't go into any of the details on any of these people. I just really spotlighted all the firsts for the English Channel. And then last 2023, Gillian, I don't know, Castle, United Kingdom, 1353, first person with a stoma to swim the English Channel.
What's a stoma?
I believe it is intestines or something that is protruding out of your body.
It is a surgically created opening in the abdomen that allows bodily waste to leave the body.
So I was like,
oh, so she's got that bag.
It just scares me because the English Channel, with all those things going on and all the things that you're facing, the chances of getting exposed and having
an infection.
Get infected, makes me nervous. But that happened in 2023, so that's the last one I had. There has just been a long list, and this is just, I'm telling you, a chunk,
a snippet.
Yes, there was 30 firsts of the first to pass the English Channel, and we're again just the English Channel.
There's
you
so
just
much
highlighted
more.
The Boston Marathon, just the Boston Marathon,
right?
Okay. This is running and swimming, just running and swimming. Limits endless.
I know. I'm looking up Felipe Croizon right now, trying to see with a quad amputee, how does one do that?
Okay, before you go too far into that, do we have a weekly wow?
Yeah, my weekly wow was have more drive, people.
Oh, yeah.
And just fucking do it.
Just fucking do it. I love that.
If there's something that you've been itching to do or been kind of teasing around in your head, just fucking do it. Why not? And have more drive. I feel as a society today, we are so lazy and we are so easy to go to just excuses as to not do something. Mm-hmm. Be better. Do better.
Let's change it. Which is weird because we're in a current environment, current times where there's all these excuses and perfectly easy access, but yet we're hitting some groundbreaking firsts even in 2024 Olympics.
With the Olympics, but all those people are examples of just fucking going for it. Those people, they don't get paid jack shit to do it, so they're working extra hard to get money to go and do it. So what fucking excuse do you have? People. And it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be physical.
Time zone though. So what I'm saying is we have the excuses in front of us, but there's people right next to us in the same time frame that are proving otherwise. We can be them. We can reach for gold. We can reach high.
I'm not saying everyone is going to be an Olympic athlete, but you can. I am. Yeah. 2028. Hey.
Watch out.
But I literally think that anyone could achieve anything that they actually put their mind to. I think that they could. It's getting rid of that doubt or having to doubt and then doing it anyway.
If you look into the words of that sentence very thoroughly and deeply, yes, you could do anything you put your mind to, but if you have even an ounce of doubt, it's going to eat you alive. So you have to learn how to want to do something and then look around it.
And just do it no matter what.
Even with the doubt.
Yeah.
And if that's not as easily said than done.
No, and that's where the mental toughness comes in.
And if you have the doubt and you let it eat you alive, but you're like, I still think I can do it, well then it's not necessarily a do one and done, it's a journey. So if it takes you years, it takes you till you're 64.
40 years? Yeah.
And that's what it takes. Like, I don't think there's any reason to give up, because you've got a whole lifetime ahead of you to knock some shit out of the park.
Right, like if you cannot go one day without thinking about it, then don't give up.
Don't give up. It's not over.
Till the fat lady sings.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Which I thought was what you were gonna do. But we ain't no fat ladies.